Yeah, you saw it right, everybody. That's my title. That's what I'm going with. You know I've been railing on Bernie for a while, but here's what I'm talking about. So it's been a few days since Super Tuesday. Had to wait. Was working on some other stories, so I had to wait to do my wrap-up of Super Tuesday. You all heard it was 4 states for Biden for sure, 1 for Bernie. We still don't have final numbers out of Washington State. That's a relatively close race, so delegates will be getting split fairly evenly there, but it's all about the perception. What sounds more impressive? I won 4 out of 6 states, or I won 5 out of 6 states. Think about it. Oh, I won 1 state or I won 2 states, you know. Obviously, we know which one sounds more impressive. So just a quick recap. In Mississippi, Biden mopped him up 81% to about 15 for Bernie. In Missouri, it was 60 to 35. North Dakota, that's the state Bernie won. It was 53 to 40. Michigan, that's the one they were counting on for Bernie, possibly to spring the upset there and get him some momentum, but he got mopped up again, 53 to 36, a 17-point spread. Idaho was kind of the surprise. Generally, that's been kind of Bernie's bread and butter, that base, that kind of Western territory, white, younger type voter. You would think that that one would have leaned more towards Bernie. And in Washington State with 77% of the precincts in, and this is as of early Friday morning on the 13th that I'm recording this, Biden has the lead, 35%, Bernie's at about 33.6. Quick recap, there you have it. It looks like Biden might pull a 5th state. We'll see what happens once all the ballots are counted. In the video leading up to Super Tuesday, I showed you the 538 website, and they were projecting what they thought each candidate would end with in terms of delegates when all is said and done. So here's an update on that. And I'm just going to show you this real quick. I had it up before Super Tuesday. At that point, they had Biden at right around 2,400 delegates in terms of projections. So after Super Tuesday, he stretched it out a little bit further. See, they have him there at 2,438. And that updates with every election. As states have their votes and we see how things go, the projections update. So it'll look different next week after all those states vote. Illinois, Ohio, Arizona, Florida. Again, Biden's projected at this point to win a majority of those states, if not all 4 of those states. I'll talk about that next week leading up to that election. So my main gripe, if you've seen any of my videos, is when it comes to Bernie, I've always felt he was a phony. And I just couldn't understand how his supporters, a majority of them, like I say, the more far leftist types, the anarchist types, the revolutionary types, the individuals that see themselves as individuals that are going to bring about this great social change, this great political movement. And I'm always confused at how they can support Bernie. People call him Bolshevik Bernie. I call him bootlicker Bernie, and I'm going to stick with that. You're going to see what's going to happen. If he has another day next Tuesday on the 17th, like they're projecting him to have, then the pressure is just going to get ratcheted up a little bit further. I would like to see him stick through the race all the way up to the convention, or at least until the point where Biden crosses the threshold, 1,989 delegates. Me, whether or not I believe with somebody's ideology, I can always respect an individual that would fight for what they believe in and stand behind that 100%. So that's why I'm saying all this rhetoric out of Sanders leading up to the primaries before they first started, you would think that he was that guy, right? He's a fighter. He's the one that's going to get you your revolution that you're hoping for. And again, I'm talking to Bernie supporters here. As I said, though, I can respect somebody that's got principles. Whether or not I agree with them, that's another story. Obviously, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I don't agree with communism, socialism, whatever you want to call it. I'm all about how I led my life. Worked hard, first generation college, first generation graduate program, everything. I'm an individual that respects the privilege we have here in the first world, in our westernized nation here. I respect the privilege. I'm thankful for every day I get to wake up here in the United States. I love my country. It's never going to change. And I'm always going to love the opportunity we have to make for ourselves here. And hopefully most of you watching the video feel the same way, that whether or not you're up or down in life, that the opportunity is still there for you to make for yourself. That being said, if you're somebody that's a Bernie supporter and you're pushing for socialism, communism, whatever you're pushing for, if you think he's that guy, the only thing I can point to is the 2016 primary. The way he got done wrong by the DNC, and then he turned right around, bent over, grabbed his ankles, and took it right up the you-know-what for the DNC. I don't understand how anybody could, knowing what happened there, be still cool with Bernie and thinking he's the guy. Now, as I theorized before, individuals who support Bernie, speaking specifically of those individuals who supported him back in 2016 and still do so in 2020, I couldn't understand for a while how that was possible. It didn't make any sense to me that he would endorse this establishment candidate in Hillary Clinton in 2016, but then come back in 2020 and then you come right back to Bernie. There seems to be a huge contradiction there in principles. So Bernie comes back in 2020. He's talking the same old stuff, right? Same old stuff he's been spewing since the 70s. So my question to Bernie supporters, plain and simple, is I know you support him, and as I've said before in my other videos, I know you think he's a step in the process of where you want to get to. I know that you know he's not the guy. He's not a revolutionary. He's an intermediary. He's just a guy. He's a puppet to me. He's a step in the direction you're hoping for. So my question to you is, and why I say he's a loser is, so what's going to happen is, say he gets mopped up next Tuesday again on the 17th. Pressure ratchets up. He claims that he's not establishment. He's always out there fighting for the little guy. You know, all of this nonsense that he's out there spewing. Oh, we're taking down the establishment. And all that madness he's talking about. And he comes out and supports Biden. I know a lot of you out there, a lot of you Bernie supporters, you're going to be like, F that. You'll probably try to stick it to him, vote for Trump. Probably a lot of you did in 2016 as well. But for those individuals, I don't understand how many times you would have to get burned by the guy to where you, I guess that would be no pun intended, how many times you'd have to get burned by him to where you understand that he's not your guy. It is what it is. He says what he says. If he stood on his principles, even if I disagreed, again, I wouldn't care. I could at least respect that he would stand for what he believes in and demonstrate that through his conduct. So, like I said, the question is, when it happens, which it seems like it's going to happen, and he turns around, and if he endorses Biden, if he bends over, takes it up the you-know-what one more time, how are you going to feel about him? Where do you go? What do you do with somebody like that? And in furtherance of that, say it goes the way that we think it's going to go on Tuesday, and he's still staying in the race after that, and he's still sitting out there fundraising for a race that he can't even win. I don't understand why anybody would want to give him any more of their money. I mean, how many more vacation houses or houses do you need to buy this guy before you understand that he isn't your guy? He's not your socialist guy. He's not your communist guy. He's a Joe Biden in pretend revolutionary clothing, to use the wolf in sheep's clothing kind of analogy. But again, I'm just railing on it, just some random thoughts I had about him. I don't understand how people can keep supporting him financially, knowing what he has and what he stands for. But again, I'm curious to see how all of you Bernie fans are going to be if he bends over and takes another DNC up the DNC. It doesn't compute. Those two things just don't add up. Supposed to be against the establishment, but yet he's going to bend over for the establishment once again. And it doesn't get any more establishment than Joe Biden, other than maybe Hillary Clinton. So again, those are my thoughts. Just a quick wrap up on Super Tuesday. Biden's got 4 states. Bernie has 1. It looks like Biden might pull a 5th. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, just some random thoughts about it. I don't know how Bernie Sanders supporters can be honest with themselves and look in the mirror if he does it again. That's the video for today, though. So take care, everybody. It's Friday the 13th, everybody. So take it easy, be safe out there, and have a good weekend.